Hey, Mark Anthony here with another episode of The Whole Message, where we show you how to get healthier one bite at a time. And let me tell you, I was at one of my cooking classes here not too long ago, and I had a doctor come up to me. And usually I have really good, rapport with doctors. I really do. But this one doctor come up to me and I was just like, well, where's all your proof that this eating this plant-strong lifestyle is really good for you? Where's all your proof? And I just thought about this and I was like, really? Do I actually need proof to show you how good vegetables are for you and show you how bad animal products are for you with all the saturated fats and the statistical facts? And I just like, really? Of course, I referred him to my website and I brought out a stack of books this big and I said, where do you want me to start? I said, this may take a long, long time, and that's what we do here is we show you the proof of why we need to eat a healthier life and the results from it. This is a passion that I have, and you're not going to get everything in one program. I mean, it takes studies, it takes time. But the bottom line is a plant-strong lifestyle is the healthiest lifestyle on the planet. And people that go on a vegan lifestyle live longer, they have the least amount of diseases, they have the least amount of cancers, the least amount of heart disease, and they're the most slender people in the country too. It's just a win-win-win in every way, shape, and form to live and eat, a healthier life. And so anyway, that's what we do. We just help you bit by bit, one bite at a time. So let's go in the kitchen. We'll show you how to do some cooking, and then we'll finish up with a couple more things after that. We'll see you in a bit. Ladies and gentlemen, introducing Melody Perniman and her world famous turkey loaf. Did I lift that up enough for you?
Well, wait, let me come down here a little bit. But I've had calls from Hawaii, I've had calls from Kuwait, I have from the Bahamas, I've had calls all over asking for this. When they see it aired and it brings it to their mind thinking, oh, the holidays are coming up, I want this recipe, because it's hard to find a vegan, healthy version of a turkey loaf.
I've done this recipe, and we've done it together. Okay. And I've had people calling me saying, hey, do you have Melody's recipe for the turkey loaf?
Email Mark.
That's what they do. They call me like I'm your personal secretary or something.
There he is.
I'm like, you bet. I'll be glad to take care of that for you. Send me your address.
It's nice. We're on the road all the time, folks. We don't have access to send you things like we normally would, but there are some resources out on the internet where you can get this. Pay attention to this. If you've got the record button on right now, great. If you need pen, paper, pencil, get it out right now. I'm going to give you the ingredients and how to do this, so this is a good time.
What I used to tell people is, if you don't have a computer, go ahead and email me your address and we'll get those recipes out to you.
Yeah. And how are they going to email you with no computer?
And then I realized, so you can always make a call though and we'll get them out in the mail for you.
This is the soy curls. This is what we are going to use for the meat type texture in this recipe. Butler soy curls is one of my go-to favorite products that I use. Oh yeah. Hands down. Non-GMO, non-defatted. It is a soy texture protein basically, and it's whole. And I love it. When it comes, it's real dried and brittle, and I've already hydrated it, so if you can see any of that moisture in there, because I want to be able to work with it.
But then you squeezed all the moisture out of it.
I did, and this is a very delicate part of this recipe, and I've had calls from people saying, okay, I don't quite understand it, because you've got 3 cups of water. But I really squeeze and get as much moisture as I can out of the soy curls when I hydrate them. And if you don't, then add your liquid, and I'm going to show you the texture today, what I like.
So it's got to be right. Yeah, it's got to be right.
To see that. So I would always, even for myself, I put the water in a little bit at a time until I see a good texture, because I might not have it squeezed out exactly right every time.
Okay.
All right, so we're going to, and that's 4 cups of rehydrated soy curls.
Is this all going in here?
That's all going in there.
Okay.
And what we're going to do is we're going to process that one right now, Mark, just to get that down in our container good.
Okay. Nice and quiet.
I know.
Oh,
I know it. I
Melody,
love my
are you going to leave this for me?
Yeah, right. Everything in my
love
kitchen
it.
is red. I love red.
You want me to stop this now? Because it's pretty much,
it's going up
it
there.
didn't take long at all.
It doesn't take long.
And I'm going to
You
leave
got a
this here
spoon?
because we got the topper here, so I
Yeah,
don't want to
we
pull
do.
this off.
No, I don't want you to. I don't want you to. What I want you to do right now, though, is let's get our seasonings in here. This is onion powder, 1/8 cup. 1/8 cup of onion powder.
Tablespoons,
Teaspoon of salt.
Teaspoon of salt. Himalayan pink salt.
Tablespoon of poultry seasoning.
Gobble, gobble. Buck, buck, buck.
Teaspoon of garlic.
Garlic. Powder or granulated.
Yes, either
you
one.
You could put some, what about whole garlic? You could just
You
do
could
that
do
too
that
if you
too.
wanted.
Now this is the bacon seasoning that's a hickory
Interesting.
made out of Torrelia yeast because I want a little bit of smoke flavor in
like
there
a
as well.
smoked turkey.
Exactly.
Right.
And this is the McKay's Vegan Special chicken seasoning.
Chicken style seasoning.
And I'm going to let you put just a little bit of water with that, Mark.
And when you say a little bit, we're going to
Just
go.
give me about a cup. All right.
Okay.
And we're going to process that a little bit more before we add the oats and the gravy mix and the flaxseed.
Okay. And it's turning pretty good. Yeah, if you can get that motion going, you're doing good. And if not, we're going to have to grab a spatula from there.
Here's a long spoon.
And what do you think?
That looks good. That looks
Need a
good.
little more or no?
I think once we add the other ingredients, we're going to be okay.
Then blend it together. Huh?
Here's your flaxseed. Now, what do you think that flaxseed's going to do, Mark?
Is it binding, thickening?
It is
a little
binding.
both?
It's just like an egg. So we're going to put the moisture in. This is the Leahy chicken style, and I use the gluten-free. And folks, this is a gluten-free recipe if you make it that way. Chicken style gravy.
Okay.
That's what that is. 1 cup. I've had people call me a lot on that. A whole cup? Yeah, you can buy them in like a pound.
Yeah, the price is
container.
right. All this?
Yes, we want all the oats.
Really?
And these are the quick oats.
Oh, we got more water here, though.
We've got more water. So I'd add at least another cup of that water.
You want me to save a little bit or something?
Save just a little bit, just in case.
Okay.
I want to make sure our consistency's good.
All right. Here we go.
All right. I can see the flaxseed in there. Ooh, I like the way it's moving.
I was going to say, oh, sorry. I just thought I'd get in here and bust
That's
this up a little
great.
bit because just to get it going, right? Mm-hmm. I'll put that right in the water.
And it looks like it, go ahead. It looks like to me that it's got plenty of water in it. And at this point, I would let it just blend as long as I can. I could do a few dishes.
3 minutes, 5 minutes, 10
3
minutes?
to 5 minutes and you're good to go. But I really want to blend this because I don't want chunks in it when I roll it out.
All right. Let's let it blend.
Now this is the table. There's 2 tablespoons of oil in this recipe, and one of them is for the product, and the other one is for the rolling.
Okay.
How's that feel, Mark?
I have no idea.
You have no idea.
I have no idea.
How's it taste, Mark?
Tastes really good.
All right. That has to go here. And we're going to roll this.
Okay, let me go like this.
Okay.
And I think I'll just pull this baby out of here. Can I go right here with it?
Sure.
Okay. In fact, the last time you and I did this for a network event, and we did it together then.
We did. Yep. And you know, if it's too wet, add oats. If it's too dry, add a little bit more water. Please don't add all of the water at a time. We didn't use all the water.
You ready for all this?
I am.
Okay, and I'm just going to kind of stretch this out over here, I guess.
Leave me
it's
some
a little
on the end
warm.
to roll.
It's actually a little warm.
It is.
Why is that? Because we used hot
We
water.
used hot water. And
warm
we've been
water.
blending for a while. You know, it's blended for
And that
what, 5-10 minutes?
Friction heats up. Mm-hmm. Uh-huh. Okay, there you go.
I'm even going to spray a little bit on the top there. You know what this reminds me of? It reminds me when I used to bake bread. Mm-hmm. That's what it reminds me of, and I've got it all over my hands. Hang on.
Got one right here for you. Wet towel.
Got a wet towel. And this is where,
Okay, stop right there.
do you see what I'm doing
This
here,
is
Mark?
where you make the loaf.
This is where you make the loaf. We want this big old fat roll.
Tootsie Roll. You're making a big Tootsie Roll. That's what you're doing.
I will.
Can I close the ends up?
I
or-
want you to. And then we're going to roll them, Mark. And try to make it as tight as you can. So we want
And
to
this one or the
squeeze-
next one?
We're going to do the next one as well. And this is parchment paper, in case you don't know.
And if that doesn't work, just grab your old newspaper, that type of thing. You might have a little comic strips, like they used to do with the Silly Putty, but that's always a possibility too.
And then
isn't
you're
it?
rolling your end really tight.
And it doesn't have to be perfect
It
as far
doesn't.
as size-wise goes. Okay.
You're rolling in opposite directions there. And then I like to take the aluminum foil.
Well, the tighter I get, the more swell that's getting here. So.
And I like a fat roll.
Okay, because I was going to do long and slender just from my chef times and portion
Mm-hmm.
control. So if you're looking for portion control, I would actually have it longer. And if you're just looking for a wow factor, maybe a thicker fatty. This is going to
can.
take longer to cook if it's
It's going to
fatter.
take longer to cook. I like a little short fat one, and I'll tell you why. I could slice this for lunch meat.
Okay, I got you.
And we're just going to do the same thing here.
And one more thing of foil, maybe?
Yeah.
I think you need it on this one.
And we're going to put that on a cookie sheet. It's going to bake in the oven about 375 degrees for about an hour.
Okay. Rum, 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 rum. It'd be like a Harley. You could have your biker.
Oh, let me grab a pan.
Okay. So I think this will work just fine, huh?
I'm still here, Mark. I'm
Yeah.
still in the kitchen, Mark. Hang on. There you
Okay,
go.
boom.
Put it in the oven and it's good to go.
What's the time?
I'd say 375 for about an hour.
And it's going to be,
And it'll expand a little bit, but
it'll be firm.
it'll be firm. This is
Not
like a
all
roll.
squeezy.
You'll be able to take the paper off, and we'll show them, and you'll be able to slice it.
Okay, let's do it.
What are you digging out of that oven? I always just get to stand here and watch. Oh, the turkey roll.
I got a great big Tootsie Roll for you.
That's what it looks like, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, it's hot. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's very, very hot.
Yeah, shouldn't be too bad.
I'm always like, okay, is it going to set up? Is it going to just fall apart? And, Mark, I was trying to figure out what to do for the holidays when this recipe came to me. And I always give God the credit for what I do because there's no way I could have come up with this recipe on my own. This
Yeah,
is
isn't
like
that
tamales.
cool? Isn't that cool when the recipe comes from
Mark,
above?
look.
Oh, and look how steaming hot it is. Woo, baby.
Woo! How are we going to get it on that plate?
Man. Oh, that's easy enough.
You going to do that?
Yeah. Whoop. Oh, a little browning action too
There's
there.
my browning.
Was that the side that was down on
That's
the pan?
the
I'll
side
bet
that was
ya?
down.
Yeah. So, well, we definitely cannot cut into that.
No, it's too hot. Look here. Look at the end piece there.
Because it really sucked up and expanded.
It did.
Tell us about this now. What other possibilities can we do with it? Because we're not going to slice it now. You're just
No.
going to have to.
It's hot, and I don't want it to fall apart. So it really needs to cool down.
Or throw it in the fridge.
You can put
and then
it in
you
the
slice it like sliced turkey
You
for
can
sandwiches.
slice and make lunch slices
Right.
out of this. Much cheaper. I mean, the cost of this per the big rolls that you buy, I don't even know if there's $5 in here, maybe $4 at the most.
Wow.
It's very inexpensive because you had oats. Leahy gravy was the most
Yeah.
expensive thing. Soy curls are very inexpensive. But you can also, when it's cool, you can haul out the inside and do your stuffing and put stuffing inside this and slice it for the holidays and present it with the stuffing in the middle and then some cranberry
It'd be
sauce.
like a pinwheel type of look to
Oh,
it.
yes. And don't throw away what's on the inside, because you can add that to your dressing, make like a gibletless dressing.
Wow.
So,
you.
you know, everything here is usable. And oh man, cost
Amazing.
effective and healthy.
God has really gifted you, but I'm opening this thing up anyway. Just get
Are you
away
really?
from me.
Oh, I can't believe
I'm
it.
sorry, but it just, I
It's still
cannot
so hot.
resist. I'm using a serrated knife. We're just going to take off this one end. Yeah, there's no way I should be cutting this. No reason whatsoever, except that I've got to taste it. So this is going to cool. It's going to tighten up.
And remember, this is gluten-free. Vegan, gluten-free. It does have to tighten up.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think, Mark? You like that?
That is really good. I won't stop eating.
No.
That's it. So we've got to go. But look at that baby. Let it cool down. Then you can
Let
get
it
really
cool down.
thin slices. And,
Then gets, yes, you can. Right. Love it.
all right.
Good
Mark
recipe.
and Melody with Melody's perfect turkey.
Holiday
Roast.
turkey loaf. Yes. Isn't
Loaf.
it? Loaf. I
You
love
need
it.
the word perfect in front of it.
Word perfect, yes. It's good.
And we will see you next time.
Hi, Melody Prettyman here from The Whole Message with your health tip of the day. Today, the banana. Low in calories, high in potassium, great for your complex carbohydrate, vitamin C, even protein in the simple banana. Whether you eat yours frozen for an ice cream, or you use it in a smoothie, or even in one of your baked breads, don't forget the banana. Remember, you're always just one bite away from good health.
Hey everybody, Mark Anthony here, and we're back for another exciting segment of intelligent information that you need to know to live a healthier life. And today we're going to have a little segment about aspartame, you know, that little sweet treat substitute that makes you do crazy things in your brain. At least that's what can happen with aspartame. And I've done a lot of research on aspartame, but I wanted to share with you first what Michael Greger says about aspartame and the science, the real science that we need to know from Dr. Michael Greger. So let's see what Michael Greger has to say about aspartame.
In a Harvard study of hundreds of thousands of people compared to non-coffee drinkers, those drinking up to 4 more cups a day only appeared to have half the suicide risk. What about more than 4? A Kaiser Permanente study of 100,000 people found that suicide risk continued to drop, 80% lower at more than 6 cups a day. Now, 8 or more cups a day, though, is associated with increased risk. Perhaps those with more severe forms of depression try to use very high doses of coffee as a form of self-medication to make themselves feel better, but was nonetheless insufficient to elevate their mood. It may also matter what goes into the coffee. The NIH AARP study of hundreds of thousands of Americans followed for years found that frequent consumption of sweetened beverages, especially diet drinks, may increase depression risk among older adults, whereas coffee consumption may lower the risk. Whether soda or fruit-flavored drinks or iced tea, those artificially sweetened appeared to carry higher risk. Same with hot tea or coffee. There was a benefit in coffee drinkers compared to non-drinkers, but add sugar, and much of that benefit disappears, and add equal or sweeten low, and the risk may go up. Various effects of artificial sweeteners, including neurological effects, have been suspected. For example, aspartame, the chemical in Equal and NutraSweet, may modulate brain neurotransmitters such as dopamine, serotonin, although data have been controversial, inconsistent. Scientific opinions range anywhere from safe under all conditions to unsafe at any dose. The controversy started in the 80s, soon after aspartame was approved. Researchers at the Mass College of Pharmacy and MIT noted that given the very large number of Americans routinely exposed, if only 1% of the 100 million Americans thought to consume aspartame ever exceed the sweetener's accepted daily intake, and if only 1% of this group happen coincidentally to have an underlying disease that makes their brains vulnerable to the effects, then the number of people who might manifest adverse brain reactions attributable to aspartame could still be about 10,000, a number on the same order as the number of brain and nerve-related consumer complaints already registered with the FDA before they stopped accepting further reports of adverse reactions to the sweetener. Who might be especially vulnerable? Those with a history of depression. Researchers at Case Western designed a study to ascertain whether individuals with mood disorders are particularly vulnerable to adverse effects of aspartame. Although they had planned on recruiting 40 patients with depression and 40 controls, the project was halted early by the Institutional Review Board for safety reasons because of the severity of reactions to aspartame within the groups of patients within the group with a history of depression. It was decided that it was unethical to continue to expose people to the stuff. It's interesting. Normally when you study something, a drug or a food, the company usually donates it to the researchers because they're proud of the benefits or safety of their product. But the NutraSweet company refused to even sell it to them. But they managed to get their hands on some, and within a week, there were significantly more adverse effects reported in the aspartame group than in the placebo group. They concluded that individuals with mood disorders may be particularly sensitive to aspartame, and therefore its use in this population should be discouraged. In a review of the direct and indirect cellular effects of aspartame on the brain, it was noted that there are reports of aspartame causing neurological and behavioral disturbances in sensitive individuals, headaches, insomnia, seizures. But they go further and propose that excessive aspartame ingestion might be involved in the development of certain mental disorders, and also in compromised learning and emotional functioning. They conclude that due to all the adverse effects caused by aspartame, it is suggested that serious further testing and research be undertaken to eliminate any and all controversies. To which someone wrote into the journal that there really is no controversy. Aspartame really is potentially toxic stuff. But what do they mean, excessive ingestion? Well, the latest study on the neurobehavioral effects of aspartame consumption put people on a high aspartame diet compared to a low aspartame diet. But even the high dose at 25 milligrams per kilogram was only half the kind of limit set by the FDA. So the FDA says one can safely consume 50 a day, but after just 8 days on half that, participants had more irritable mood, exhibited more depression, and performed worse on certain brain function tests. And these weren't people with pre-existing history of mental illness. These were just regular people. They conclude that given that the higher intake level tested here was well below the maximum accepted daily intake level, 40 in Europe, 50 here, careful consideration is warranted when consuming food products that may affect neurobehavioral health. Easier said than done, since it's found in over 6,000 foods, apparently making artificial sweeteners impossible to completely eradicate from daily exposure. Impossible? While that may be true for the great majority of Americans, it's only because they elect to eat processed foods, right? So there's another reason to stick to whole foods. Then you don't even have to read the ingredients list, because the healthiest foods in the supermarket are label-free. They don't even have ingredient lists.
Stick to those whole natural foods that don't have any ingredient list whatsoever. And let me tell you a couple things about aspartame here. I think it's very interesting that the studies about the mental disorders and neurological problems that are affiliated with aspartame are really so significant. My question is, what does that do to the offspring of the people that are receiving these mental psychological disorders? Kind of makes you think about it, doesn't it? Think about this. And I had a lot of aspartame in my life. Diet sodas, aspartame is everywhere. And I was bombarded with that. I'd probably have 10, 15, 20 of those packets every day, with my coffee. I don't drink coffee anymore, but I did consume my share of aspartame. And maybe that's why I am the way I am today. Heavy ADHD person, but actually I control it very well. But my question is, what happens to the children of these people? What does it affect them? And that's a big question. Anyway, one other thing I got to share with you, though, about this aspartame situation is the inventor of aspartame. His name was James Schlatter. Now, he worked for a company called Cyril, and he was the inventor, James. He was the inventor of aspartame. Cyril is a pharmaceutical company. Now, what they claim is that he was working on antacids or something like that. But interestingly enough, aspartame, which is linked to brain tumors and cancers and things like that, Cyril, the company who invented aspartame, actually has the treatments for the diseases that aspartame causes. Same company has the treatments for it. Now, isn't that coincidental? You know, but these are the things that do not get pointed out. Another thing I wanted to point out, because I've studied aspartame many years ago, and that's why I haven't had it in many years. How did aspartame get on the market? Let me tell you this. Mr. Hayes, Arthur Hayes, he was the head of the Food and Drug Administration. And as the head of the Food and Drug Administration, this is the first day Ronald Reagan was in office. Mr. Hayes was the head of the Food and Drug Administration at that time. And the very first day when nobody was looking, because they were so busy looking at Ronald Reagan's presidency thing going on, they had a vote to decide if aspartame was going to be put on the market. And normally there would be an oddball, voted 3-2, aspartame is in or out. Aspartame had been denied over and over and over and over. So what Mr. Hayes did was he added another person to the vote and made it a 6 panel instead of a 5. So the vote was 3-3. Then his signature was the deciding factor. One signature passed aspartame and put it on the market. Mr. Hayes, the head of the Food and Drug Administration, did that. Now, coincidentally, after Mr. Hayes retired from the Food and Drug Administration, his next job was the president of public relations for Cyril, the company who treats the tumors and cancers with drugs that it causes from the aspartame it creates. Are you catching all this? His paycheck was $1,000 a day, every single day, even days off. He was $300 and some odd thousand a year with change and bonuses and perks and everything else as well. And he had that job, I think, for about 10 years until he passed away. Mr. Hayes, the head of the Food and Drug Administration, the one that passed it, started working for that company. Okay, now I know this is getting deep, and you can verify every bit of this too. The other interesting factor now is that Cyril, the company that produces aspartame, and the company which they split it. They did split the company later on. But the company that produces aspartame and the drugs that treat the cancer and tumors that aspartame causes, that company, Cyril, got bought out by who? Monsanto. Yes, Monsanto bought out Cyril. So interestingly enough, now you have Monsanto, who's really controlling the food market big time. I mean, they're not just GMO. They're not just a GMO company. They'll sell you non-GMO seeds. They could care less what you buy. But now they're starting to control the drug market, which to me is a conflict of interest. Because they can get you sick on one side of the fence and then sell you the drugs on the other side of the fence. They're owning both sides of the fence, which is ethically inappropriate for them to be able to do that. And the kicker, who was the orchestrator of the entire merger of Cyril and Monsanto? Drum roll. Donald Rumsfeld. That's right. He was the orchestrator. They actually brought him in as president of Cyril to get that merger taken care of. So, and once again, we're coming down to the same situation that government is in bed with corporations. And that has been the problem. It always has been the problem. And you eliminate that problem, you're not going to have these type of problems, because bottom line is they're poisoning us. They're poisoning us with all these chemicals that are in our food supply. And the government's allowing it to happen for money and personal gain. I don't know how else to put it. But the bottom line is your life is at risk because of the actions of these people. And I'll tell you what, the best thing you can do, just like Michael Greger's saying here, eat whole natural foods that don't have ingredient lists. More fresh fruits and vegetables, grains, oats. That's what we teach here. And we do it with flavor. I mean, especially when Melody comes over. I mean, her and I, we just go all crazy in that kitchen showing you the easiest ways to cook fantastic tasting food that doesn't have all these chemicals in it. And so that's what you got to do. Take those steps, eat more whole natural foods, and get off these pesticides and chemicals, because that's what's killing people out there. So I know this is deep, but in all seriousness, that's my job to inform you and show you the whole message. So we got more. We'll be back. Hey everybody, it's cherry picking time, and up in the northern states you're going to find a lot of cherries, and it's almost a very short season that you can go out and get cherries. In fact, in our area, we've only got a week to 10 days to get those cherries, and then the season's done. So, but we did go out and pick cherries. And what I did was we actually ended up with some 30 pounds of cherries, and it didn't take long at all to pick them. And let me tell you, dollar for dollar, we were at $2 a pound for some great, beautiful organic cherries. And look at those babies. Woo! I mean, these things are just gorgeous. Put them in baggies, throw them in the fridge. You just don't want to leave them for a long time in the fridge like that, or they will start getting a little slimy because the moisture and condensation and everything. But look at those. These are actually probably a Bing cherry. There's a couple different types of cherries. You've got the darker ones, which are the Hudson cherries. If you ever see the really dark ones, those are the Hudsons. And then you've got the Bing cherries, sweet cherries. These right here are yellow cherries. And they had a couple yellow cherry trees out there, so I wanted to pick some of these too. Now, I did leave the stems on these because we're going to do some different things with them, and they last longer. When you're picking them, they'll last longer if you just pull the whole stem out. They have a longer shelf life than these, which the stem's pulled out of it. But these are a lot quicker to do when you just pull the cherries off. But the yellow ones are actually going to be used for different applications like coloring, maraschino cherries, and you'll see the green cherries and things like that. These are what those are used for, because you can color them with different food colorings and things like that. So that's those. But today, let me share with you my little cherry machine here. Boom, okay, it's working good. And this is really cool because you just put the cherries in here and boom, out comes the cherry and the seed goes down below. And you can just sit here and fill this up and just keep going right like this, and sometimes you'll get a little sticking, but need more cherries. So when you get a unit like this, it's very fast and easy, but you can't have the stems in there. So very fast and easy to get all your cherries pitted out. And I just kind of get my finger in there. Sometimes they'll get caught up a little bit. I saw one of these that actually has 5. It's on a big handle, and you push it and you're actually knocking out 5 cherries at a time. You can put a big old bucket here. And I think it's by the same company. Do I have the company? It's that Leaf Herod or something, but you can get these on the internet. And the one I've got here is actually really good. It just does a great job, and you got all your seeds here. So anyway, couple things you can do with these cherries. You can refrigerate them, of course, and use them quick if you're going to refrigerate them. A lot of times we're going to freeze them, and if you're going to do that, freeze them individually like this so they're frozen. And then after they're frozen, you're going to bag them together, and then you've got your IQF individual quick freeze. This is what it's doing. So that way, see, they're all individual in here. And you're not ending up with just one block of icy cherries. So that's called individual quick freeze. And then we can pull this out and put it in salads and make salad dressings, things like that. Smoothies, that's our big smoothie thing, is we'll probably go out again and maybe have about 50, 60, 70, 80 pounds of cherries. Because the price is right now, and that will take us all the way through the winter, take us a whole year, and have cherries all winter long. And we'll just stack those up in the freezer. The other thing we do too is dehydrate them. And I've got a dehydrator right here. Let me share with you what we've got going on here, and I'll pull the top one off. There we go. These are the dehydrated cherries. Now, I haven't really done a lot of homework on dehydrators, and I'd really like to study them out and find out which ones are better than others and give you a real good... I've seen a couple commercial ones that people have custom made that are just perfect. And I have yet to find one of these that really gives me what I want. So that's kind of where I'm at with dehydrators. So anyway, dehydrators like this, the problem is you don't get the consistency. So like some of these, you can tell, oh, these are looking really good, they're firm. So I can pull those out because that's what I'm looking for. And in the same batch, look at these, aren't even close to being done. And it's even on the same level. And we'll rotate levels and everything, but it just ends up being that way. So, but I want something that's firm because it's going to give it a longer shelf life. The other thing you can do when you're dehydrating the cherries is add some citrus powder and take some citrus powder and just after you pit them, just mix some citrus powder with water and let the cherries soak it up. If I remember right, if you look at a dried cherries, dried fruit, it usually says sodium benzoate or something like that. And it's usually a citrus. It's usually a acid. Citrus acid, I think, is one of the things. And that would be your preservative. So if you can find some citrus that you can put in here, or even lemon, if you hit it with lemon juice, if you got your cherries in here like this, filled up, big container, put some lemon juice in there. That's another way to do it, or the citrus powder. So anyway, that's the way you do cherries, and it's fun to go out pick them. In fact, I think we have a clip. Do we have a clip or a couple photos? Here you go, of us out there in the cherry field, and it was just fun to get out there. And I'm not that good on a ladder. One thing that you'll want to pay attention to when you're out there picking them too, go out there with a group of people. It's so much fun. The better cherries are usually at the top, and the darker the better. Sometimes most of the ones on the bottom were actually a very light red, and so I went up to the top and got the ones that were the darkest color. But you can see a significant difference between some of these. And there's a lot of things you can do with them. I mean, they're just good, healthy, and the price is right, especially when you can find a place where you can go out there some weekend afternoon and just go pick some cherries and save yourself some money. So anyway, that's our little segment for today about cherries, and we'll see you next time actually cooking in the kitchen.
Is this several of our programs? Is that what this is?
Yeah, that's our baby steps to an amazingly healthier you. Baby Steps to an Amazingly Healthier You is now available on our website.
Nice. How many DVDs are in here?
It's a 12-part series on 4 DVDs.
How much do you sell this for?
$20,000.
That's cheap.
Yeah. And it's helping our ministry, so $20 actually. It was $25. $25.
$25.
$25 on the internet, just covers our shipping and everything.
Good.
So,
Nice.
Yep.
$25 for 4 DVDs.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a good price. We got a price.
That's a great price.
And of course, we've got Simply Yummy.
And Simply Yummy Unprocessed.
I think
on
who
the
was
way.
it written by? Oh, Melody Prettyman. Yeah, I've heard of her. I heard she's
Mark
got
just
some
had
really
my oat burgers
awesome.
recently.
Oh, they were good. We did a couple of recipes in here on the last.
we did.
The hot portobello and onion focaccia. That was, and the Mel's blueberry coleslaw. You did that one too. That
We
was
did that
so
one.
good.
I know you
Man.
like that one.
You know, every one of your recipes in here that I've done so far is an absolute winner. So,
Well, I'd say thank you, but thank God, because
Mm-hmm.
I really feel that they were inspiration.
money back guarantee. If you're not completely satisfied, call her for a full refund.
Call him.
Call her. And then, of course, I got my Vegan Simplicity.
That was your first book.
That's the first book, about 250 recipes, and
Beautiful
Of
book.
course, we do things that we throw it up there, and then Simply Incredible.
Turn this around. Turn that book around on the back. Now that one's
Man.
not bad, but look how much I've
About
lost even since
50
then.
pounds ago.
Probably, and
Wow.
I can't find that chef coat.
Wow.
I don't ever wear a chef coat. You do all the time, and I love that. Look at this picture. Look how young. And you have actually some
turn that
of my
around.
recipes in there.
Yeah, I do.
I
Yeah,
love
yeah,
this book.
It's a good book. So, yep, working on a couple more. I've got another one that's a sequel to this that's really going to show people everything they need to know about flavor. But it's a good year away. I mean, I want that.
Flavor is everything.
This is a fabulous book. Probably one of the best books you'll find anywhere.
I like
because
this
we've
book.
checked all the Barnes and Nobles and all
Have
the
you?
book companies, and dollar for dollar, this is a better buy than most any vegan book out there.
do you
and
sell
the
this
next
book
one's going
for?
to be even better. $50.
Wow,
Yeah.
that is, Mark, not only does it have recipes, but it talks about reducing the oils,
Right.
drink plenty of water. I mean, it's got everything. You've got a library in front.
Yep. And it's got the stitch binding.
Stitch
So it
binding.
stays
Look
open
at-
in the kit.
Look at the beautiful
Yeah, you want it to
pictures.
stay open. And
Yes.
if you don't have the stitch binding, that's a quality book.
That's a quality book,
The other
yes.
ones, they'll just they'll be wasted in no time. So, yep.
Nice.
Yep,
nice,
nice book.
nice.
So, what are you working on?
Scheduling.
Really?
Scheduling
Yeah.
events.
You got another book though to this one.
I have another
it?
book that's coming out. Yes, I want to work on that. I've got a couple books in mind for recipes, cookbooks, but working on a few
takes time.
other things. It does.
takes
I
time.
wish I had more time. I need like in a 24-hour day, I need 24 hours and then 2 to sleep.
Yeah.
I mean, it's that terrible, I lay in bed at night and my brain won't shut off. I just lay there thinking, okay, now what do I need to do? I've got this to do, I've got that to do, am I going to forget this? I've got to leave tomorrow, I've got to call this person. Oh, I need to answer that one. Oh, I'm waiting for this check. And my mind just goes.
See, and I'm very
Have you seen that?
organized.
Zzz?
I'm very organized. I
are.
got everything in order.
You
And, that's one of my specialties. I actually do classes on organizational management. I've trained managers how to train their teams and things like that, corporate organizational management. So I don't just do cooking programs.
There's a lot.
I do time management classes, money management classes, organize your life classes. Got a lot of biblical classes as well. So I'm
You
kind
do.
of
You
keep
have
it
a lot.
well-rounded.
You do a lot of sermons. You even
Yeah.
go into churches and it's not like he's preaching just on health. I mean, you have some good biblical knowledge.
Right. Normally I don't do sermons on health in churches.
Right.
Yeah.
I do more testimonial.
Yeah.
I don't really do the sermons either. I'm not a preacher by any means, but I love to research. You know what?
But we're all called to proclaim.
We are
Yeah.
called to proclaim, but I love more than anything testing. I love to get in and test recipes.
Oh, okay.
I
Yeah.
love to see something new or taste it.
And
then
you're
I
very
get
good.
in the
You're
kitchen.
very good at it.
Bam!
Yeah.
I go right into the kitchen because I want to learn. I want to make sure I've got it down.
Yeah, I can see what other people do and just make it way better. That's kind of the way my brain works.
Yeah.
So
But no, it's for me. It's getting out there. I want to hit the ground running. I just see such a need, Mark, of people everywhere you go. Like, oh, I really needed this, and I don't know how to get started. And it's okay. If it's baby steps, it doesn't matter. But just start doing something.
did she say baby steps?
Baby steps.
If
It
it's
is.
baby steps you need, it's baby steps we have.
Yes.
Baby steps. Just
Yes, it
keep
is.
taking steps, though. You
Just
got to
keep
taking
taking steps.
Yeah.
Yeah. My 100 pounds didn't fall off overnight, and I didn't want it to. I wanted it to come off slow. Now I'm ready for the rest of it to come
Yeah.
off. It's got to get off here.
Get
I
out
don't
of
want it.
here.
You got a knife. You guys, he's got some wonderful knives that he has. Man, I want to cut that stuff off.
That's the easy way.
What about you? What are you doing?
That's it. I'm booking events and just staying busy. So yeah.
That's something.
I'm resting is what I'm doing.
I would. That's
It's
something.
been a rough couple weeks in the kitchen,
But
day and night.
people need to
I just want to
know
rest.
it doesn't matter the amount of your church or your organization. You might be a small company, a small congregation. You think, oh, we can't afford you guys to come. You would be shocked. I did an event in Washington that had 13 people in the congregation, and we had almost 100 people in that
I
seminar.
know, isn't that amazing?
They wrote a whole article up about it in Washington State because they said if it would have happened with the same amount of people who lived in this little farm town in a bigger city, we would have had over 3,000 people there. And everybody just poured in, and it was amazing. And
Yeah.
they've asked me to come back, so I've got to get, I've never
They're
been
fun.
into California yet, but I've got to get through California and get up to Oregon and Washington and back around. So
Oh, it's a fun trip. It's a fun trip.
just
People are
don't-
so good out there.
They
It's
are.
amazing.
People are great everywhere. I've met such an eclectic group of people, and I have friends and family all over the United States.
I've had a couple of bad places. I won't go back.
Really?
I won't mention them.
Okay, don't. I don't want you to. But God usually, and I know you do the same thing, Mark. Whenever I start booking my events, I pray and I ask God if He wants me
Yeah.
there to book the event. If He doesn't, I don't want to book it. So
So best thing you can do is call the number on the screen and
Yes.
see what we can do for putting on events in your
Mm-hmm.
area. And you'd be surprised. We're really pretty good at getting these events booked and get them on the calendar. That's what it's all about, get them
that's
on
what
the
it is.
calendar.
Get them on the calendar and take off.
You better do it now.
Do it now.
Because tomorrow may not be here. You know, a lot of people always put things off till tomorrow. They put things off till tomorrow. And honestly, we don't know if we have a tomorrow. And if you're going to do something in life, do it today.
We're not promised tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly.
What there? I
Do it
love
today.
songs. Tomorrow. What if tomorrow never comes?
Yeah. The sun will come out
Tomorrow. I think
Bet
we need.
your bottom
I think
dollar.
we need to end this program and
I
get
know, I'm
ready to do
exhausted.
something
I'm
else. We
just
are tired.
exhausted.
I'm ready to get some workout clothes
Yeah.
on and go to the gym. I think that's what I need to do. Go to the gym. Hey,
tell you,
catch us
nonstop.
Catch us back in the kitchen, even when we're not cooking, because we like to talk to you. We love to talk about health. We'll see you next time.
Hey everybody, Mark Anthony here with another Office Desk segment, and today we're going to talk about those diet sodas and what a problem they can be. And let me tell you, I was a big diet soda drinker, just guzzling down that aspartame, and my mom was a big diet soda drinker. She would drink probably 5, 6, 7, maybe 10 at the most diet sodas a day. And she died from a brain tumor. And a lot of people believed, and even doctors said it's probably from the aspartame in those diet sodas. Of course, we never did anything to prove or disprove that. It was just, you know, we didn't want to do the autopsies and all that kind of stuff. We knew she had the cancers and things like that. But I'm telling you, the diet sodas are probably more of a problem than it's worth. So people think they're going to drink diet sodas to lose weight. And then they wonder why they're not losing weight. In fact, my mom gained weight. And the more diet sodas I drank, it seemed like the more weight I was gaining. You know, I got up to 325 pounds. I was a big boy with a 48-inch waist. And I have not drank sodas in years and years and years. I drink my water. Right here I've got some pond water. Actually, this is pretty good. This is just water with a little B12 nutrient mixed in it. So my wife gets those for me, and they're pretty good. So, but yeah, I just have not drank a soda or a diet soda in years and years and years and years. But we've got to go to the doctor, Dr. Michael Greger. He's got some information for us to share with you all about diet sodas and how it can actually make you gain weight.
Erythritol, the too-good-to-be-true non-toxic, low-calorie, tooth-friendly sweetener that may even act as an antioxidant. What's the catch? Well, there are 3 ways that all non-caloric sweeteners could theoretically be harmful independent of their specific chemistry. Over the years, several large-scale prospective cohort studies found a positive correlation between artificial sweetener use and weight gain. meaning the people that drank the most diet soda, for example, gained the most weight. Now, the most common explanation for this counterintuitive finding is what's called reverse causation. And people aren't fat because they drink diet soda. They drink diet soda because they're fat. But there are at least 3 other less benign alternative explanations. The first is called overcompensation for expected caloric reduction. If you covertly switch someone's soda for diet soda without them knowing it, their caloric intake drops. Obviously, they're not drinking all that sugar anymore. But what if you tell them what you did? People who knowingly are consuming artificial sweeteners may actually end up eating more calories. Why? Because they're like, hey, I'm drinking diet soda, so I can, have 2 pieces of cake. Okay? In this study, they gave people an artificially sweetened cereal for breakfast, but only told half of the group what they did. As you can see, when it came to lunchtime, the aspartame-informed group ate significantly more than the aspartame-naive group that didn't know any different.
Well, there you go. Maybe that's the reason why people gain weight when they know they're consuming something that is calorie-free. I can go eat more of this and more of that and more of this, so maybe that's their excuse. But there's other things that are involved here too, because a lot of the diet sodas are going to have a salt factor and things like that make you retain water. So I know my mom had problems with that as well. But my biggest issue too is not necessarily the weight gain, but the chemicals, and stick to water. I mean, we should be drinking a gallon of water every day. At least I should. 250 pounds. Let's see, that's 128 ounces. Half my body weight, 250 pounds. Half my body weight in ounces is 125, and so that's about a gallon a day that I should be drinking. And I'm probably 3/4 of a gallon, but then I do a lot of these too. So, yeah, that's the way it is. And by the way, look how much money you're gonna save if you're not drinking half a dozen or a dozen diet sodas a day. I mean, what an absolute waste of money. And especially when it comes to these Red Bull power drinks and these Monster power drinks that run $2, $3, $4. Some of them are running $5 a piece in the hospital. And we'd have doctors and nurses that are trying to stay up all night long, coming in there and buying 2 or 3 of them, spending literally $50 to $100 a week on sodas and these power drinks that are just ruining their bodies. So anyway, that's our intelligent information for today, and you be blessed, and we'll see you next time. Hey everybody, time to make some lemonade. Yeah. Doesn't matter what time of the year it is, it's always good to make lemonade because lemons are so good for you. And number 2 on the antioxidants of any food out there, cranberries is number 1. And so we're gonna make some easy lemonade. And I've just got some ice water here. Of course, we're gonna take this lemonade to the extreme. And we're just gonna hit the lemon juice in here, which I usually do 1 whole lemon per, 12-ounce glass. I do pretty strong on the lemon situation. And yeah, lemons are so good for you. It used to be blueberries were the number 1 antioxidant on the planet. Then they started testing other foods. And when they started testing other foods, they found out blueberries doesn't even make the top 10 anymore. So that's the situation there. Now, you can do a couple more things here. Sweetener-wise, I've got stevia. There's some flavored stevias that work very well. And then you've got powdered stevias. Today I'm just going to use the original plain stevia drops, and I'm just going to hit it with a shot. I don't want to cloud this any more than it is, because I'm doing something special with it. And these, like the vanilla one, it's a darker color, and I don't want that any darker than it needs to be right now. So, give this a little stir. Now, just like that, you've got lemon water. Oh, that was so tough. Actually, it's lemonade, lemon juice, because you're adding the sweetener to it. But today, we are going to go to the extreme, and I'm going to share with you some hibiscus. This is actually hibiscus flowers, and I'm just going to put them right on the plate here so you can see what they look like. Hibiscus is really popular. It's if you go around the world, national flower in Haiti, South Korea. Hibiscus is the national flower. Hawaii, you go down to Hawaii and the ladies have the leis that they are made out of hibiscus. And this is actually in sugar. I got this at just a little specialty shop. Wild hibiscus flowers and syrup, and it's syrup, so it's going to be a sugar water. But what we're going to do is just take one of these babies right here, put it right at the bottom, just like that. And then you hit it with your lemonade. There we go. Now you serve this to some of your guests, and they're gonna be like, you gotta be kidding me. You can even have ice in there if you want, but look at that. Nice little flower, and you can eat the flower too at the end. But that's what I'm talking about. That's when you really go over the top. Ooh, that is so good too. There you go, home run. One that will wow your guests. Just put a little hibiscus flowers. You can get them on the internet, I'm sure. And just gives a little wow factor. And that's what we do here, to teach you the fun ways to cook in the kitchen. We'll see you next time. That's our program for today. Thank you all for tuning in. I'm happy that you are continuing to learn what it takes to live a healthier life, because it does take steps, one step at a time and one bite at a time. That's what we're here for, and we will see you next time in the kitchen.